It hits hard. Being stiff hits harder than people expect at the end of a restaurant shift. Even when you know it shouldn't feel personal, it does. Not because of the money alone, but because of what's missing when the interaction ends at the table. If you've ever worked a shift on the floor, you already understand this. The logic says, don't take it personally. But the feeling doesn't always listen when you're closing out your section. This is the third video in a series where we're talking about tipping, not to argue it, but to name the moments that stay with you long after the dining room clears. Getting stiffed isn't loud. There's no confrontation across the table. No explanation at the check presenter. Just the absence when the receipt is signed. You replay the interaction in your head while bussing the table. You think about what you might have missed during service. You wonder if there was something you could have done differently. Even when you know you did your job well on the floor. That's the part people don't always see about restaurant work. When someone leaves no tip, the mind looks for meaning. Not because you want validation, but because effort without acknowledgement feels unfinished after a long shift. You greeted them warmly at the table. You checked in throughout the meal. You stayed professional in the dining room. You solved problems quietly while managing other tables. And then there's nothing when the night ends. It's easy to say, don't take it personally, but service work is personal by design. You're present on the floor. You're attentive to the table. You adapt in real time during the shift. So when that exchange ends with silence at checkout, it can feel like the work didn't land. Over time, servers learn to manage this internally. You don't react in the moment. You reset at the POS, you move on to the next table. But that doesn't mean it disappears. Sometimes it shows up later, after the shift ends. When the dining room is quiet. When the lights are dimmed. When you replay the night while closing. And that's why being stiffed can feel heavier than expected. Not because of entitlement. Because of emotional investment on the floor. Most servers eventually learn to compartmentalize. You remind yourself that not every table reflects your effort. You focus on the shift as a whole, not one interaction. But the feeling still passes through. This isn't weakness. It's humanity in service work. If this feels familiar, take a moment to share your experience. What did being stiffed feel like for you, the first time, or the one you still remember from a shift that stayed with you? This conversation continues. You're in the right place. This is the server section, and thanks for watching.